What's up, everybody? We are back with our season opening edition of Third and Longhorn. Getting ready for inaugural season of SEC play for Texas.
Yeah, right.
I got a great crew with me today. We decided we're going to start introducing people so you guys know who people are if you're listening at home. So we got Jeremy Hills to my left.
That's right.
Rob Babers to my left as
What's
well.
up?
To my right, Mr. Fozzy Whittaker.
Holla at your boy.
As well as Mr. Alex Okafor.
Yes, sir.
So, guys, we got to start talking about football.
Yes.
Game week, baby.
So, man, I feel like we've been interviewing kids for so long that we forgot what it was like to prep for games. But I think we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So, to kick off, I want to kick it off to I want to hear Oak's thoughts on this. So let's start off with the SEC move and kind of what you're expecting, whether it's fan wise, expectations of the season. What do you got?
I'm just ready for that national platform. I'm tired of the national disrespect that came towards us because we were in the Big 12. Like anytime we had a good team, it was always, where's the competition at?
Yep.
Like who are we playing? What does the schedule look like? There's no more of that when we go to the SEC. We get that platform now that comes with the SEC. We're part of the big dogs. So when we get those wins, these wins are going to mean a little bit more because they're coming from the SEC. And I don't want to hear anybody else saying otherwise.
The craziest part about that is that even the biggest dog over there has been Bama.
Right.
Yep.
We traveled to that godforsaken place. I don't know if y'all thinking about
Once. I've been once.
Yeah.
Just once. You only go once.
Only been once, right?
Yeah.
We traveled out there, smack them up, take a knee on their side of the field, go home winners by 2 scores. And literally, the immediate response from most of the country is, yeah, but if they had to play SEC ball every week, it'd be a different.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
yo.
Or Saban lost it. They were like, Saban lost it. They were like, Saban, man, he ain't the same anymore. We're like, he made this college football playoff last year. He ain't the same.
Yeah. You remember right after the game, everybody was hyped about Texas, and then each day that passed, it was just like this ratchet down of like, but this, but that, but this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, when you play for a conference outside of the SEC, everybody in the media feels like they try to slight you for not being in the SEC.
Exactly.
This year, we're not going to get none of that, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's a big boy schedule. Think about it. Texas, because they've been in the Big 12 and outside the Southwest Conference when you were playing all your old school rivals, Arkansas and Texas A&M, and going home and home.
When Jeremy was playing Southwest Conference.
Fozzy played in the Big 8. Fozzy played in the Big 8. He showed me his ring before we got started.
It feels like football season again when Jay Hills and Fozzy taking shots at each other. But but now you have to play your rivals on the road, right? Those are big games on the road against your rival. That's something Texas isn't used to, right? You play Texas, Oklahoma. That's a neutral site. You hadn't had to go to A&M in a long time. We talked about a couple of years ago going to Arkansas. What that was like. I feel like you got more big games on this schedule, and I think to Alex's point, that'll continue to be the case from this point going forward because you're in the SEC.
One of the biggest points, though, that I want to point out specifically for this year, this transition year, right? Transition into the SEC, we got a pretty favorable
Amen
schedule.
to that.
Like
For
when
sure.
you look at even our travel, we travel to Dallas for a neutral site game. We travel down the road to what's that little place outside of Houston? College Station. Sorry,
Slipped my mind as well.
I missed it. It's like a little exit, and there's trees and a little exit. If you miss it, you got to circle back. But yeah, we travel over there, and then we got a good amount of home games, especially for our toughest competition.
Yep.
Right, we get Georgia here. We get Florida here, right?
Florida here.
So, which I mean, we'll find out week 1. Florida got Miami, so we'll see who they really are. But I think by the time we see them, the Florida team got some talent. So I'm like, us getting what I foresee as our toughest competition in the state of Texas, whether it's at home or just a short drive away, I think it'll be favorable to us.
Yeah. All right, Fozzy, next one's for you. All right, so we're almost 8 months since New Orleans, right? And a lot of change since then, but a lot still the same. Like you've been around the team a lot, as well as just like the coaches, et cetera. What to you is the general mood and culture and expectation for this year?
Yeah, my general analysis and takeaway is this team has the most confidence walking into this season that I've ever had, that I've ever seen them have. And I think whenever you look at Quinn Ewers and the way that he steps up, I go back to SEC media days and his disposition when speaking to the media there was one of leadership. Another example is a couple of weeks ago, Steve Sarkisian mentioned that they had a player-led meeting just with players. typically that was Roschon Johnson, that was Jalen Ford, that was Tavondre Sweat a season ago. But who's the man now? Quinn Ewers was the one that led that meeting, got them all together, got their minds right because they know what the expectations are. They know what they're looking to get to. And then they're starting to actually walk the walk in practice. That confidence that I see, it doesn't stop at Quinn Ewers. It goes across the entire roster. And I think whenever you have that type of confidence, because they were able to showcase a little bit of that last season as they progressed through, obviously winning the Big 12 championship and then playing for the CFP. They're like, oh, okay, this is kind of what it feels like. None of them had never won.
Yeah.
They hadn't been in that position ever before, so they didn't know what it took to get there, nor what that experience was like once they did get there. Okay, let's double back. 2024, we know exactly what we need to do. We know exactly the deficiencies that we had if we want to be in X position winning a national championship. And I see them taking that step whenever spring ball happened, whenever the summer workouts were happening. I saw the intent in their eyes. Like what we did last year, it wasn't enough. We still got food left on the table that we got to take care of. And I think that's the type of mentality that they have to have, the proper approach. And it starts with Quinn Ewers as that unsung leader to be able to feed that same energy no matter what game it is, no matter what the environment is, no matter what the score is, contain that same and maintain that same type of mentality year in throughout the course of this season.
I'm happy to hear that just because, especially at the college level, I feel like when QB1 is playing well and he's a real leader, it can mask a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It really can mask a lot of other stuff. And I'm expecting to see, I mean, there's some different pieces in that offense now, right? Just from the actual playmakers. Like a good part of your production when you think of your starting receivers, your tight end, and even your starting running back from last year are all, for either injury or moved on. They're no longer there. So, it's going to be some key playmakers that have to step up. What does that gelling process look like in the middle of competition? And then, what does that gel process look like in the big house on the road, week 2? Like, that's huge, right? So, me hearing that our leader is QB1, the only person that other than the center is going to touch this ball every single snap. Right. Like, the one that's really making the decisions that are going to determine if we put up points or not. Like, what does that look like from a leadership standpoint? Fozzy, I know you got an inside scope on that. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. I'll tell you know what I mean? I'm happy to hear it. And then I got a chance. I throw this in there. I seen a Dr. Pepper commercial the other day.
Love it.
And it looked like my man is finally relaxing a little bit. Like enjoying. I'm like, good, man. This is good. This
comedic timing was awesome.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that what we get a chance to see this year is somebody that's not feeling like they got to prove anything, but they genuinely know I'm the man.
Except the hype train not stopping.
Right.
Reference to your Dr. Pepper.
I don't care about his famous family.
We don't need no
guy with beautiful hair.
That's brilliant. I ain't gonna lie. That was on the money right there.
All right, so Rod, the next one I want to give to you. So there's been a lot of talk this offseason, and I've actually heard you talk about it on your show, of this Texas target on their back, right? Like Quinn said, we're going to get everybody's best game. I feel like we always say that, though. We said that in the Big 12 too. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to be any different than it was? Do you think it's heightened this year or turned up?
Oh yeah, it's turned up. I mean, even Paul Feinbaum mentioned that everybody wants a piece of Texas. They can't wait to get a piece of Texas. They want Texas in their home stadium because their crowd's going to be fired up to play Texas. So there's no doubt, and you guys know that's always been the case. But that's with Big 12 teams, not with some of the rich traditions of the SEC. And even going, on the road in the SEC, it's going to be a little bit different than going on the road logistically in the Big 12. They're just bigger stadiums. They're just more passionate fans, richer traditions. So I can't wait to see how Texas. I mean, I loved going on the road in icy whites. I loved it.
Stormtroopers, baby.
Oh man, it was nothing like it. Us against the world. Everybody's got. You're gonna have everybody rooting against a hostile environment, and nothing better than going out there and quieting the crowd, just quieting that crowd, and all of them. Everybody's hushed while you're out there making plays to your group. So I think this team is going to. I really think they're going to have a great resolve in the SEC about going on the road, things like that. So yeah, this target on their back. There's no question. That's always been the case for Texas, and Sark has embraced that lately too. You heard him at SEC Media Day saying, Arkansas, they hate Texas more than they love themselves. He threw that out there. That's kind of an old school saying, but it is true. I think we all know that if you ever got a chance to play Arkansas. So I think Sark's starting to embrace that, really the brand that is Texas and how you're always going to be. And we've heard even CDC bring this up to David and Goliath, and people don't like that analogy that he brings up, but sorry, you're never going to be David. Like, you are Goliath. You got to find a way, even when in that mode and even in that role for Texas, to still be successful. And that's where you are now, because now you have the expectations. Everybody's expecting you to be good. Last year, people thought you were going to be good. Yeah. This year, everybody says Texas is going to be one of the top 4 to 5 teams in the country. This is not a debate anymore. So how do they handle the success? How do they handle the burden of expectations? Because that is Texas football, gentlemen. That's why y'all came here. That's why we all came here. Because we wanted everybody to look at Texas and go, damn, man, I want a piece of Texas, and I think Texas is going to win the national title, and we live up to our expectations. Remember, Sark said the standard is the standard.
Yep.
That's what he's talking about.
But one piece that I think would be interesting is, like, we're going to deal with a different type of hate.
Yeah, you is.
What we've dealt with in the Big 12 for as long as I can remember, and Fozzy, you got to tell me about the Big 8, but what we dealt with in the Big 12 is, like, you're dealing with teams that deep down they wanted to come to Texas.
Yeah.
That's, this is like a scorn type of situation. I think the situation now is, genuinely speaking, that cat at Florida, he wanted to go there.
Right.
It's not that he wanted to go to. He wants to show that you're not all that. You're not what the media say.
Right.
I feel like I'm better than you, and they give you too much TV time. Like, this is I think you're gonna deal with like a envy, like, I think that's gonna be the energy in the stadium. So it'll be, like, especially you go to a place like Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Have y'all been in that? Man, they get the ringing note.
Yeah, the cowbells.
Oh my goodness.
Dark Bill.
Oh my goodness. Like, I think it's gonna be a different type of energy in there. And you touched on it, like the passion. And I think that's one of the things that if I had to compare NFL ball to college ball, and one of the reasons why SEC is probably the closest to it is that, like, these are like diehards.
Yeah.
There's no good game and pat on the butt and a hug between fans. This is like the Philadelphia Eagles, just in different colors. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's going to be interesting to see what true hostile environments look like, how we handle it, and then I hope we get a little hostile too when they come down here to Austin, right? I don't want us pointing to the best barbecue. I want us to get a little hostile too. So
I agree.
It's time to turn it up a little bit.
Yep.
It's time to turn it up a little bit.
You're in the SEC.
It's one of those things where I think what will be a differentiating factor for not only how often we win, but the way we win is how nasty we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's going to be tested. And what's been fun to see is on the rare occurrences that we got a chance to see a nasty game, I was proud of our guys. Now I want to see is that who we are. So it's a lot of we got questions, Texas. I think they got the keys and I think they got the tools to answer those questions, but we have questions.
Yeah. All right, well, that brings us to second down. Enough talk about, the overall season. We've got the matter at hand this coming weekend.
Yep.
We actually got an opponent, and I believe we have some super good technology here.
Wow.
This state-of-the-art piece that Jeremy Hills has procured the new Connor Stallions model of the Ray-Bans. So Jared, are you going live now?
I'll tell you what. Let me.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, he's on. He's active.
Man.
Let's record.
We'll see if we're technologically savvy enough to add in this footage.
Let's do it. We're locked in now, guys.
I like that. We'll try to flip the perspective.
Yeah.
But
They had that at the Southwest Conference.
or the Big 8. Or the Big 8 meetings. All right, so second down, time to talk about the game. Right? And I want to kick it first off to our two offensive, not offensive, but offensive guys, Hills and Fozzy, to talk about the running back room, all right? The interesting part was the running back part went from this super confident piece of what we had to all of a sudden, people doubting when I still think we got somebody there who can do it. What are y'all's thoughts on that room right now? How do you guys feel?
I think ultimately, whenever you break down the most athletic position on the football field that has ever been played.
Hold on, let's keep quiet. He's preaching.
We got time for this.
Let's
not going to interrupt. I'm not going to interrupt.
Do you talk in church? He's preaching.
Just saying. Does this pretty much sponsor this weekly segment?
Just saying.
Let him preach. Preach, Pastor.
Jaden Blue is an absolute nightmare.
Why?
For defenses. And it's partially the reason why he's the most athletic person on the football team. Not necessarily because he plays running back, but a large part that he plays running back.
Yeah.
But not necessarily.
He's very special. And we all got to see a little taste of it. Not this past spring ball, but 2 spring balls ago, he had an explosive run. This past spring ball, he had an explosive run. We saw him, obviously, in the Sugar Bowl as well against Washington and New Orleans. And if he touches the ball a couple more times, who knows what that score would have ended up as well. But Jaden Blue is a special guy. I think ultimately you feel for C.J. Baxter.
Facts.
Obviously, he had an opportunity to start last year as a true freshman, got injured. And then Jonathan Brooks, the best running back in the country, took that as an opportunity and ran with it until his injury happened. And then C.J. basically inserted himself back into that conversation. Well, this year, the same type of mentality that I was talking about Quinn earlier with that leadership role, taking on the room, also being a leader for the team, that's what C.J. Baxter had. He showed us. He showed us exactly what type of leader and what type of player he wanted to be whenever he came on the show. We talked about how mature he was, and for him to be a true freshman at the time, now a true sophomore, he was wise beyond his age. Nobody's wiser than Jeremy's age, though. But whenever we start talking about the impact of the injury, then the leadership has to be discussed because that was the leader going into the season. Jaden Blue has to step up in a big way. Yes. Will he do it? Yes. He's that talented. But Trey Wisner is another guy, also friend of the show. Both of those guys came on, Jaden Blue, Trey Wisner. Very mature. Whenever I go out to practice, I see Trey Wisner leading the group in the same way that C.J. Baxter led the group, and these guys are true sophomores, second year in the system. Like, these are guys that already had their mind made up. They wanted to be difference makers, not just on the field, but also in the impact that they had. So I do think Texas, if they had to be thin at a position or had to lose a person or two at that position, the running back position might have been the deepest to be able to afford those losses. Now, it'll still be felt. I'm not saying that everything is still going to be cool. Obviously, I feel for CJ. I feel for Christian Clark. But at the same time, the ability to still have a Jaden Blue, to still have a Trey Wisner, the number 2 ESPN recruit in Jared Gibson, as well as a true freshman, like, that's a luxury. And what Tashard Choice does with guys that have played in the starting and the backup roles is they get drafted. So I expect that to continue.
Not just get drafted. Last 2 years, we had the first back off the board. They're proven to be the best in the country at their spot.
And 2 backs drafted each last 2 drafts.
Exactly. 4 guys drafted in the last 2 years, 2 being the first backs off the board. That's not on accident. That you don't see that. You know what I mean? You just don't see that. Even especially with a stacked backfield, but you just don't see it.
Right.
So to Fozzy's point, if there had to be a position to get hit with the injury bug, I'll never wish injury on no opponent in any sport.
Right.
But if it had to happen, it happened to a room that can bounce back. It happened to a position coach that has proven to have his next guy up, ready to go. And then the fact of the matter is, 23 can play ball.
Yes, sir.
23 can play ball. He was going to get some touches regardless. I think C.J. Baxter is special. I think he's going to be special when he comes back.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if it's somebody that had to hold it down, 23 can play football. So I'm interested. It's going to be interesting to see just how successful he is. I have no doubt he's going to be successful.
Right.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say, am I looking at a Deontay Foreman type year? Like, what am I looking at next?
Well, that's interesting. I want to propose. I want to propose this real quick. So, with the numbers being so low in that room, how does Coach Choice and Coach Sark go about divvying up the handoffs? We can't put too much on his plate at the beginning. We can't afford for another guy to go down.
Nope.
So, how do we adjust towards that, keeping bodies healthy in that room?
In a perfect world,
Yeah.
you don't have to play 23 anywhere past 8 minutes in the third quarter. in a perfect world, in the games that you shouldn't have
against
to.
Colorado State.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say those guys' names. I don't know if they need airtime.
It is
but
what it is.
the games that you shouldn't have to play that guy. Then my first year, Brian Arakpo did not play a lot of fourth quarters.
I'm with you, but let me propose this. We just talked about the SEC schedule strengthening a little bit. I don't see too many situations like that on this new schedule.
That's fair. That's very fair. So it's ultimately it's gonna be a two-pronged approach, I believe. There, one is going to be how are you scheming it up, which is what I think you're saying, and then additionally, as 23, you no longer are a junior in college. You're a freshman. You're a rookie in the league. I need you to handle your business like that. I need you to be like you need to be in there with Donald in the training room, like on the off day. You have to handle yourself like a pro, not only because it's best for you, but the team needs it.
Absolutely.
Well, then let's look at it for this game, though. And Rod, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think the rushing attack looks like this game? If you had to predict, or what do you think the percentage between rush pass would be?
That's it. I think
in the competitive part of the game.
Yes, I was going to say first half.
Yeah.
And I think Sark, honestly, and I don't know if he's going to go this route. He admitted he was open to it when they asked him what the identity of the offense is going to be with the injuries to the running back position. I think you should go with giving the keys to the offense to Quinn. Fozzy, we've talked about it too. I think you got third-year starting quarterback. You got the deepest wide receiver room you've had since he had his four first-round receivers at Alabama. The headset communication, which
Say that again.
The headset communication.
No. I mean,
that too. Before first round.
It's the deepest wide receiver room he's had since his 4 first-round wide receivers at Alabama.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he don't have 4 first-rounders. He's got some guys that don't play in the league, but he ain't got 4 first-rounders.
Almost as luxurious as AO socks.
Yeah. AO got on $150 socks. That's crazy
man,
work.
just called him out. Just called him out there.
Immediately, all I thought about was like, that's
Somebody
like
search the gallery department.
That's like
you might close the browser immediately because of prices.
Hope got on like 3 full tanks of gas on this.
Hills is over there in his glass house just throwing rocks. Man.
Wow. Count on this man for his
His expensive glass house too.
But no, like I was saying before we were distracted there. But no, I think ultimately, and Sark has talked about this, he is willing to let the offense kind of organically become lean naturally on its strength. I think the strength is a passing game, guys. I know you guys love the running back room, and it's good. And by the way, I would not doubt that running back room. That's one of the best position rooms in the country right now, as you just pointed out, Jeremy. And even historically, the Texas running back room, I would put it up against any position room in the country historically. Earl Campbell, Ricky, exactly.
So that running back room, Cedric Benson.
Even before Tashard Schwartz was here, hell, you had Stan Drayton getting a head coaching job as a position coach.
Yeah.
That don't happen, guys, unless you're talking about achieving excellence. So I'm not worried. I think the running back room will be fine, but I do think the strength of this team will be the passing game, guys, with the headset communication being a factor, with Quinn, third unit system, deep wide receiver room, 4 to 5 stars returning on offense. Yep. I think your identity becomes your strength. The strength is a passing game.
I'm a little nervous about that, though, man.
I know.
I like to see
you
balance.
Think because of the past, though. You're thinking because of the past.
I just like to see balance, especially with us going to the SEC. I mean, I want it to be 60-40.
Cole didn't have a lot of balance. Yeah. I would say that Cole didn't have a ton of balance.
Joe Burrow threw 60 touchdowns in the SEC just a few years ago. Like,
and it worked.
I'm just saying, I look at last year's team, and we were at our best when the snaps were divvied up, run past 60-40 around that time. Y'all are starting to go into the 70-30, 75-25. That scares me a little bit, man.
You don't have to be vertical deep passes. We can talk about it. That's like Fozzy mentioned. It's an extension of the running game. You're talking about screens. You're talking about quick game. You're talking about second nature throws, slants, quick game. These are things that should be muscle memory almost for Quinn at this point.
And when I'm thinking of Bond, Golden, Old, like you got some cats that they just need to ball.
No, I agree. Trust me. We're going to pass the ball. I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying
you don't want to get too lopsided.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want it to get too lopsided. I don't want it to start spiraling towards the end of the season.
I think when you look at the overall game, there will be balance, because Sark talks a ton about balance and moderation. He can't get. I want him to be an extremist. He is not an extremist. If we talk about politics, he's a moderate. Right? When it comes to the way, you know what I mean. And so I do think for Sark, once you look at the game overall, like the entire game, 4 quarters, it's going to be pretty balanced. He's probably going to be 53% run and then 47% pass. That's kind of how he works. But I think in the first half.
Yeah.
Think about when Sark's in his bag, right? When he's being creative. Look at his big games. Look at Oklahoma. Look at Alabama. Go look at the first half, early down pass rate in the first half. Dude, he's upwards about 60%. He's 58, 60%, sometimes even above 60%. When he's being creative, he's leaning on the pass to be creative, not the run.
But I think a piece of that too is, from what I've seen, is that, like, at least up to this point, it take three got to get going a little bit. And then when he's playing with that supreme confidence, oh my gosh,
get him in a rhythm.
The ball is coming out. And I'm talking about the mid game, that intermediate tight end game.
It's amazing.
The ball looks good coming out. It's on point. It don't matter what they run. It don't really matter what they calling, because at the end of the day, a great ball gonna be great defense. So it's like you seeing this cat in his zone. And I think a little bit of that is a head coach knowing that I got to get my guy going.
Got to get him going.
I got to get my guy going.
Well, and so go off that a little bit with we have a great problem at wide receiver, right? We have so many guys that can play. Like they're honestly, I think it's a toss up as to who's going to have the best year. Who knows? I think we're going to see a lot once the season starts. But in you guys' opinion, when you saw positions like that when you were playing, how do you handle something like that to manage the room, to keep everybody happy, especially the wide receiver position, which has a little rep of being
diva.
A little diva-ish. So how do you? I mean, Rod, you definitely know, being a defensive back, like that's the other diva room, right?
Definitely.
But like, how do you handle something like that to keep everyone happy and open to anybody?
Hot hand.
Yeah.
Hot hand. But like, you're gonna draw it up for what you're gonna draw it up for, right? But then as the game once you get off script and we playing football now, and it's about who's making the adjustments in real time, who's seeing potential areas where we can take advantage of what we're seeing, right, in real time, and then as the injuries are happening in real time, like I'm talking for both squads, right? That's just ball. I'll tell you, if you play ball long enough, it's not a matter of if, it's just when. So like as these things are happening in real time, I think it'll be very interesting to see, and this is where I'm placing my bet, is that I don't know if it's one dominant guy throughout the year as so much as it's Bond went crazy when we played.
Towards that way too.
Like Golden went off when we played. You know what I mean? Like I think it's gonna be a little bit of that, and I think that's probably the reason why you went in this portal and you got like bodies. You got super athletic, agile, fast guys who are dangerous with the ball in their hand. You can run a hurry-up offense and have guys stay on that side of the field and just keep it going. We don't have to line up at X and Y and Z. Stay there, keep it going. If you got smart players that know the routes from, I know everything I do on this play on the backside, everything he does on this play on the front, that's that. These guys, those guys, they don't want to see that. They need, even in a hurry up, they need those extra couple of seconds for guys to go to change sides of the field and get set. Oak want to look over there and do this a little bit.
That's when you have to tell Keith to fall down. Hey, Big Keith, get on the ground.
Shout out Keith to Randall, man. I ain't heard that name. That's my roommate. That's my guy.
Keith.
But yeah, but like that, I think it's gonna be that true team effort. I think talent will be on display, but like just this coaching, play calling masterclass is also going to be on display. Like if it's married the right way, that's what I imagine seeing.
Well, and I think this is funny. I think we're 15 minutes into talking about our offense, and this is how I know we're going to be good. We haven't said a word about the offensive line, which is in the past has always been the first thing we talk about, and especially going into the SEC. I want to make sure these guys get some love, because like we got 4 returning starters. The other guys off in the NFL, but we got a guy stepping in that I think is going to be. I love that the strength and the quiet strength of this team is going to be this offensive line.
It's no need to listen. We know. we know.
I'm with you. It's gonna get done.
Like when we used to talk about the Rams, did we have to talk about how good Aaron Donald was let's talk about some other stuff. That offensive line we got, those guys are ready. We did a really good job of piecing together an SEC-esque offensive line that is ready to go.
Yep. They've been building it for 3 years. How many guys have transferred? On the O-line, like one.
That is a great
It's
question.
they've been
In
building,
a transfer era.
Yes, they've been stockpiling really high level talent O-line, and I'm gonna say like one of those guys has transferred. So even the second group, to Jeremy's point, the second group and even the third group, I think they're gonna be really talented this year, and I think they'll be a better run blocking O-line actually than a pass blocking O-line, and that will be the challenge in the pass blocking on that right side specifically. Because I think teams are going to try to test that right side.
That's the only place you could try the O-line.
Pretty much,
our right tackle is the only place. I'm not going to say a hole, but it's the only question mark that we have on the offensive line.
Unproven.
Totally agree with you.
I love that though, but like what you get a chance to see in Fozzy, you know this, and if the run game is married to not just the production of the offensive line, if they can get going and they can start leaning a little bit, that confidence grows. And then when they're pass setting, if we know that we need to tell that back, hey, sit in there a little bit, make sure that right tackle got it. And and if you see that defensive end and he's showing some ribs, just go in there and just touch him. Just let him know you're here. Just let him know you're here.
Give him a little reminder.
Flashbacks.
He's out there. He's out there extending.
All of a sudden, we want Oak to get an alligator. That's all.
Or you want to forget about this guy.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But
Give him a little reminder.
you can when it's just like you said, that's the only question. If that's truly the only question, there's ways in the scheme that we can answer that. And then he gets to the point, who knows if it's game 1, game 2, game 3, he gets to the point where he's like, hey, I got it. And now we're dangerous.
Which we saw play out through the course of the season last year. I mean, there was expectations for this offense in general, but nobody expected the offensive line to perform the way that they did collectively.
Yep.
If you ask me. And so now the expectations are out. Same way with the Texas expectations, right? Everybody see you, all eyes on you, how you going to respond. I think the biggest addition, or the biggest bonus rather, it's not an addition, but the biggest bonus was being able to get Jake Majors back.
Man.
Like the number of games that dude has started at the center position, and then the chemistry he and Quinn share together. It can't be understated. Friend of the show too. He came on. Shout out to Jay.
Yes,
so I just give him flowers while he can smell them. He's the biggest reason that Texas is in this position and have this type of leadership at the offensive line position.
Kelvin Banks gets a lot of love.
I was just about
yes,
to say
But Jake Majors is easily the most underappreciated. He might be the most underappreciated guy on the team. Because I believe if he, and we'll knock on wood, 'cause I know he had a little bit of an injury to start this training camp, but if he starts every game like he's been so dependable in starting the last 3 years, he's going to break the all-time career starts record at Texas.
Oh, he's going to go grab Blake's record?
I believe he will, because he's at. I'm gonna look at it right now, but I believe he'll get past like 53 or 54.
What year is this for? 4 or 5? It's 4.
4.
Yeah, it's 4.
I believe his 4th year starting.
Is he?
Okay.
Is he past 4 years?
He's a 5th year.
He's a 5th year. Yeah, he's been starting so
right.
long we don't even know.
Yeah.
I think he's been starting the 3.
I'm not going to lie. That's how we used to look at Fozzy. Just like that. Just like that. He was starting long. We don't even know.
All right. So enough talk about the offense. I feel like that is the part of this team that there's not a lot of people worried about, right? Like that's it. And not that we're worried about the defense. I just think there's a lot of additional question marks on that side of the ball. Let's call it what it is. The last time this team took the field, granted it was a different team, but it wasn't our best showing, right? Like defensively, we didn't have it. And so I think let's flip to that side of the ball. And I think last year we had it interesting. Like we were very confident about the interior part of the line and a little skeptical about the ends, et cetera. I feel like we flipped this year. The defensive backs, though, I still feel like I think we're a lot more confident going into this year. But I also think that there's still some question marks. So talk about that. Talk about your feelings about the defense. Let's kick it to Okafor and Rod to talk D.
Yeah, I'll start with D-line. I'll let Rod get the back end. No, I think you hit it right on the head. I think the dynamic of the D-line flips this season. Last year, we probably get the most productive defensive tackle tandem since Casey Hampton and Big Baby Sean Rogers. I'm talking about Byron Murphy and T. Sweat right there. We lose those guys, and we replace them with some guys that are very capable. We got a transfer from Arizona, Savea. We got backup guys like Collins that's expected to have a big season. We got backup depth like Jarrell Bledsoe. We got guys like Broughton. So we have the depth there, but those guys are a little unproven. Mm-hmm. Now you flip to the edges. Now this is where fans can start to get excited. Mm-hmm. We got top dog Barron Sorrell. We've seen 2 years of production out of him. We expect another good third year out of him. Mm-hmm. We got a monster transfer from UTSA. Trey Moore coming in, sack specialist. Mm-hmm. Killed it. Set the... What do they call it? The FBS? He's not FBS though.
The school single season school sack record. I know for sure for UTSA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
don't know if it was FBS level though.
Got you.
I don't think it was.
We don't need to fact check that one. We got it.
He set the single season sack record at UTSA. So we have dynamite players on the edge. Not to mention the depth at that position. I'm talking about Ethan Burknon at the bit. Yes. I'm talking about guys like Colton Vasek, Justin Finkley. We got freshman Colin Simmons that are all in line to produce. The edges are going to be fine, and I think that's going to help out with the back end, which Rod will talk about. Last year, I felt like we didn't really have those dynamic splash, big-time sacks coming from the edge. We had very productive players on the edge, but they weren't the closers. This year, I think we'll start to see guys close from the edge, and I think that'll in turn help with the secondary.
Yep, Havoc-minded guys. You got more Havoc-minded defenders on the defense now. Anthony Hill's kind of one of those guys, too. You talked about Trey Moore, guys who are going to make those splash plays. Havoc plays are any big play by the defense, right? A sack, a tackle for loss, a PBU, interception, forced fumble recovery. You need guys who can make those plays. Trust me, I was a good defensive player. I didn't make a lot of Havoc plays, right? I got my hands on some balls, some PBUs. Most of those were because I dropped the interception, not because I made the play. But my point is, I played with guys who did have that. They were Havoc-minded, ball-minded defenders. I think you're in that category. You're a natural pass rusher. You're one of the best natural pass rushers at Texas. I think now they're bringing in natural pass rushers because they realize you can't teach it. You can't teach pass rushing ability. You guys can get better at it, but if you want just a great natural pass rusher, you got to go recruit it. Jackson Jeffcoat, just a natural great pass rusher. You know that. You play with him, right? And I think coverage is the same way. I think now they're recruiting coverage specialists in the secondary. Makuba's a guy's been playing, played safety, played corner, and played nickel.
Like his game.
That guy can cover, though. He's a little undersized, but that's because he can cover. Malik Muhammad, he's a coverage specialist. Been playing cornerback since he was like in 6th grade. Guy knows how to play corner. He's a student of the game. I think Derek Williams, probably your best coverage safety back there. He's a coverage specialist. Jay Barron is a guy that can cover. So I think the upgrade in talent alone at safety and at cornerback for Texas, they're going to be better there in the secondary. They're going to be tested early. And the truth is, yes, last year that was one of your big Achilles heels. And I didn't see much improvement from the backups, or at least some of the younger guys in the spring game either. You gave up a lot of deep passes in the spring game. You gave up a lot of inside breaking routes. And the truth is, Colorado State, we'll get into it, they're going to test you.
Absolutely.
And they'd be fools not to.
That is my next
and
question.
I want to make one more point, just about the interior of the defensive line. So last year it was a non-issue, but stopping the run. Last year we didn't have to talk about that much because it was a given. We were going to stop the run. We knew it was dead. Jay Hills used to say it all the time. You know when you come to Texas last year, you're not going to be able to run the ball.
Nope.
That was honestly an issue. Because I was like, I wish they would just stick with the run.
When teams started to throw the football, when teams abandoned the run, that's when they came back.
It kind of bit us in the ass a little bit,
just
a little bit. Yeah. But this year we have a new unit inside. We don't know if what our run defense from last year is going to translate to this year. And if it doesn't, we're going to have more issues than just the secondary or that interior D-line. So that's something to keep.
I'm not all the way concerned, though. Did y'all watch? Y'all get a chance to watch Arizona a good amount last year?
I know their defense is fine.
That Johnny Nasty defense is nasty.
Hey, man. I mean, even like every game of the year, even UW. There's UW team that went out and was putting up. Arizona just about clamped everybody that they played.
Lowest output.
Throughout the year. And a good amount of that was for that reason. They were super aggressive, and you just couldn't get that ball ran. I think you hit it on the head. You said Big Sean and Casey. Man, there's some names right there, right? But it's like that's what Murph and T Sweat were. And
didn't you play with Sean and Casey?
There had to be a little bit of overlap.
I played with Sean and Casey. So why y'all taking shots at him? Actually, I'm getting straight. I'm getting straight.
He's before you.
I actually did play with Casey.
He's before you.
All right.
What I'm saying is that, like, I think what you'll see is even if there's a slight fall off in between the tackles because of us losing those big old defensive tackles, what's gonna be made up for on the edges is if we can if we get some type of pressure up front and we can close down them pockets the way that I imagine it's gonna happen, it's gonna be a bad day for a lot of people.
I'm with you. I'm just saying we got to get to that third down. We're in the SEC now. We got these big offensive lines, big NFL backs. We got to get to third down. We got to stop
earn
them
the
first
right
and second down.
to rush the passer. And that was what y'all say, the pass rusher. Got to earn the right to rush the passer, man. You got to put in the dirty work first.
That's fair too. But then I'll challenge this though too. Just from watching the SEC last year, it's a couple of passers that we're gonna be like, all right, now the boy can spin it, but. I don't think we're gonna get Michael Penix every week.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
but that Rod alluded to it, and I'm not putting Colorado State's quarterback at the level of Michael Penix at all. But Colorado State comes in last year. They were the 9th ranked passing offense in college football. Yeah. Like they can spin it, and they have I would say just looking at who we play this year, et cetera, like. Tory Horton is the real deal, that wide receiver. If you guys got a chance to see number 14 play, he's the real deal. And so I think that secondary is going to get an early test. It is going to be it's not going to be easy, and I think they're going to be airing it out to see what we can do.
Now, what'll be on our side of this whole thing is that it's probably going to be about 114 out there on that.
It's going to be high. It's going to be high, which is why you got to expect.
This ain't Colorado,
which is why if you're Colorado, you got to. If I'm Colorado State, I'm throwing everything at Texas early. While we still fresh and while we still got some depth, because by the time we get to the mid-second quarter, Texas playing all those different guys and trying to keep up with that offense and those O-line and D-line Texas has, they're going to overwhelm us with mass and size and talent. First quarter, man, I'm telling you, that's where you want to strike.
Hey, they practice at altitude too, so it's not all just it's not all advantages. That's true. I agree with that.
One thing that's interesting though about their passing attack, I was looking at it because this is a true air raid attack. We all know air raid, so they got actually Hal Mummy's son, Matt Mummy, is on the staff, quarterback coach and assistant head coach. So they run kind of a true air raid, and Jay Norvell's from the air raid too. They get rid of the ball quickly. One of the things you don't realize, they last year only allowed 14 sacks, and most of it is because of the system that Braden Fowler and Nicolosi plays in. Gets rid of the ball really quickly. 2.6 seconds average time to throw. So I got to throw this to Alex. Like when you're dealing with, and you dealt with plenty of air raid attacks. If you ain't got the BGO, because I think the BGO and the speed rush is how you try to get there in 2.5 seconds to affect the quarterback. But Texas won't be able to do that every time. So do you just play more speed pass rushers who got the BGO against this type of offense? Or are you teaching some type of other strategy when the ball may be out faster than your pass rush can even get there?
And Rod, for the listeners, what's BGO?
Ball get off. Sorry, ball get off. Yeah. I'll let Alex explain it better than I could. But I know the term from the D lineman. I know.
Yeah, ball get off. So as a D lineman, you hate games like this where the ball's coming out quick. It's like they tell you in the D line room, look, if you can't be a pass rusher, be a pass defender. That means put your hands up and knock the ball down. So I'm sure they're going to be preaching that all week long. D-line just got to stay patient. You got to wait for your moments, man. Keep rushing. Keep going. Because that one time they get them to clutch it, that's your moment. You can't miss out on that. You miss out. That's your moment. I can point to it on film. There's only 3 of them this guy. That's it. So D-line has to be ready for that. One thing I want to point out is Colorado State's offense doesn't scare me too much. You're talking about the quick getting out, all that. I like that because we got backers that can run. Between Ant Hill and David Benda, I think they're going to go sideline to sideline, and we're stopping all that. Yeah. So,
but that was a weakness last year. The slants
I was thinking about that, though. I'm like, but I'm like, if you're going to get that ball out there quick, that means you ain't going too far down the field. Right. For the most part, unless it's just a fade. But then it hurts their defense if they're not actually getting yardage. Because the defense is going to be out there much longer. That can be a quick 3 and out. Not to mention, they turned the ball over. He threw 16 interceptions a year ago. He threw 22 touchdowns, but 16 interceptions. If we're going to dive into the numbers, what I'm hearing is he may not be taking sacks, but he ain't afraid to give it to the other guys.
Exactly. No, that's true. He's careless with the football. I agree with that. That's why I think...
Gunslinger. He likes to spread it around.
He's a gunslinger. But that's the thing about it. He wants to give it to Tory Horton.
Yes.
So if I'm Texas, I don't play this thing straight up. By the way, I'll give you some Tory Horton stats because this dude's a freak.
This is crazy.
Let's go. No, he's legit, dude. I'm telling you. Okay, so in the last 2 years, over 2,200 receiving yards. Matter of fact, 4th in receiving yards among FBS receivers in the last 2 years. The only receivers that had more Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
First round.
Guys,
Yeah,
guys
they
are
can play a
doing
little.
production. His average top speed was 22 miles per hour. Xavier Worthy was clocked as the fastest man in college football last year at 22.7 miles per hour. So the guy can go.
Yeah.
He can go now. He can run. 575 of his yards came on throws under 10 yards. So he's getting it with the slant, with the hitch, with the smoke route, and he's making things happen with the football set. 575 yards also after the catch, 11th best among college football wide receivers. So he's great with the ball in his hands. And here's something I also enjoyed about kind of watching his game. Man, this dude, if you're gonna look at him, short intermediate routes. He is Pro Football Focus has him as a 96.5 grade on short receiving passes or short receiving targets. That is second among FBS wide receivers. So he doesn't throw the ball deep. He doesn't go deep a lot. He's only 5 of 27 converting passes of 20 yards or more. So he's not going to work you deep. He's going to work you short to intermediate. And as an air raid guy, he lined up out wide 75% of the time. And he was most of the time to the right side of the formation. That's an air raid thing. I don't want you to specialize in one position. So if he's going to be there and you know where he's going to be, I play bump and run on him as much as I can if he's out wide, put a safety over the top, and force Nicolosi to beat me with anybody else other than Tory Horton.
Literally what I said, old Bill Belichick play. That's the old Bill Belichick play. Yep. After hearing all those numbers, my number one question is, well, what's number 2 got?
Armani Winfield, maybe. He's the transfer from Baylor who was once a start commit. Exactly. And decommitted. So he can go a little bit, but he's an unproven commodity.
Then that's what we're going to find out.
And they got the kid from Washington State, too.
Donovan Ali is a big receiver. He's like 6'3". And they got another kid out of SMU, actually, who's also listed on the depth chart. But all of those guys, even the running back guys, running back tight ends, they're all unproven commodities. The only proven commodities are actually in the interior O-line and Tory Horton. And Tory Horton can go. He's legit. He's the guy that'll beat you.
And we don't cover this in our downs, but talking about special teams, like he's their punt returner, and I believe he's their kick returner too. And that was what Sark mentioned that in his press conference was, you can't let this guy get stride. You cannot. And that's I didn't even know those stats about deep balls. It shows you he's taking it and turning.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So you want to take him out of the game and force and Nicolosi, who's already turnover prone. He's got his best chemistry with one guy. Mm-hmm. What do you think his chemistry is like with the other guys? Probably not great.
Exactly.
So he'll throw some ill-advised throws to them, or he'll hold on to the ball like Alex Okafor said, and then you got a chance to get home.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love that. The kid can play ball.
Yeah.
Well, let's move to fourth down, and we didn't talk about special teams just because we have the team MVP, Bert Auburn. So you guys know where I stand on him. So we're just gonna skip over that.
Michael Kern.
We do have some questions at punter, but we won't talk about that. All right, so fourth down. It's been a while, guys, but we're gonna have to do our game predictions. So I need winner and predicted score. Who wants to go first? If you guys need a sec, I can give mine.
Go ahead, Nick.
Texas 41-17.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they got 17 points. That's good. That's good.
Give them 17.
I give them that.
I had 45-20 Texas.
Oh, yeah. I'm scoring some points, huh?
Gosh.
What's the number? 33 and a half?
Recalculate.
It's the number
32 now.
32 now.
According to ESPN bets.
Okay.
I like us in the 40s this game, scoring-wise. I'm just trying to think of how much we're going to give up.
And how many we're going to get Bert out of this. So we
I'll
got to get the threes in there.
I'll go 41-10.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, so they don't cover with you.
We don't cover with that score?
Yeah, no. Good teams win, great teams cover. I don't cover with that one. That's good. I'm going to go 45. I'll go 45. 10.
Oh, okay.
45-10. I'll make sure they cover that number.
I'm close to you. I just don't. I think that when this game gets to like the depth part of the actual game, I think we start to see the difference.
Yep.
So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and go 49-17. I'm going to give them a late field goal or a late tutty at that point when we already eating barbecue, watching something else.
But when does Arch get in?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The art show. The art. That's a great. Put that in there too. When does the art show start? I think Arch gets all of the fourth, probably back end of the third.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, I don't think he sees third. I think he gets all the fourth though.
Yeah.
Nah, he coming in.
We'll see though, because like if this Texas team, man, we just got so much speed.
Sark talked about putting people in.
That's
too.
what I'm like. If that ball gets in the end zone enough times, I don't see why I'm taking some guys out. I got to. I got Michigan next week.
Well, you got to take the running backs out early. I would take the running backs out before I take the quarterback out. I might be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna bubble wrap these running backs.
I might.
Early.
They coming together. Hey, this y'all last series.
Right.
Hey,
Y'all
We need that to translate for next week.
What's his name? Belton Gardner? Belton, get ready. Belton, you got it. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Find your pads.
Where you helmet? What's the walk-on now from right from Anderson or whatever?
Oh yeah, Colin
Yes.
Page.
Colin, let's go, baby. Colin, let's go.
Colin Mike
Look at him in the
Allstott
eyes.
Jr.
They came to see you.
They came to see you. No people out there,
They
man.
came to see you. Let's go.
No doubt.
All right, who do you got who's your MVP for the game?
I think that I think QB1 comes out strong. I think this is the start of his Heisman campaign.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, they gonna throw the ball out. So one of my DBs got some picks to start off the season, right? Hey, this guy's thrown 16 picks last year. If the DBs don't get one pick, I'm gonna be so upset.
Yeah,
next time we do the show, I'll be so upset. So I'm gonna go with Malik Muhammad. Get someone, man. It already starts off his campaign as being an all SEC caliber defender. So I'll say Malik get someone. And test him.
I got Jalen Gilbo, so I went with you. I'm going into the nickel. I feel like obviously Tory Horton's going to be taken out of the game. So that's going to feature a lot for Gilbo to be able to make some of those plays.
I like that. That's good.
We're just talking defensively right now?
No.
No.
We're just showing the love to the defense.
You see how the defensive line check out? If the ball not being held, they like, what we got? What's the score? Man, listen, lock in.
You know what? I'm gonna go Jade Barron. I'm gonna stick on defense. Since it's gonna be a pass happy
that was
game,
where I was
I love Jade this season. I think he sets the tone for this defense. I think he sets the tone for this season, and I think we're gonna see it on Saturday.
I like Jade, and I think Jaden's gonna show people something. So I think he's gonna do something.
I can see that too.
All right, so you guys played in plenty of games like this, right? Like this one, it feels like it's an automatic win, even though there's no such thing. But week 2, you got something big sitting on the calendar that I know they've been practicing for. Mm-hmm. So how do you stop the guys from looking ahead and play this game first?
That's good.
I don't think that's as big of an issue for week 1. For the first game of the season at home,
I got you.
I agree.
Like everything is all about showing up, showing out. First time taking the field together as brothers. Yeah. Like we finna get this championship ride started. Now, if it was week 7, week 8, and then you got that matchup, you can't even really do it with Oklahoma and Georgia because both of those already.
You're talking about
Kentucky. You're talking about Kentucky or somebody.
Right.
Sandwiched in between.
Like,
that makes sense.
Yes, exactly.
Because they play football over there apparently.
Right. They show up.
Yeah. Participate
to the game.
I was gonna say I lean with Fozzy's thought process. Not first game of the season is not so much overlooking an opponent. You're going to be locked in because you're wondering when is that first touchdown coming? When is that first sack coming? Yeah, you locked in on game 1. You got to start the season off right, and I think these guys will be ready for that.
I agree with that. Actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, though, we had one of the members of the staff, it was not me, get inducted into the Ring of Honor. In the past. So let's give it up for everybody.
We're sponsored by Palm Angels now.
I want to say this about Oak. I remember Okafor's first day at UT.
What?
Oak's locker was across from mine, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I thought, what basketball player snuck into the football locker room? And he was real quiet, right? Our section of the locker room was pretty rowdy, and Oak was real quiet and just. He talked with his pads. Mm-hmm. He talked with his pads, and he came up the right way under Serge and some real dogs, Sergio Kendall and some other real dogs, and then seeing Oaks last year there when he had 4.5 sacks in his last game to lead it.
That ball.
I was at that game.
I was at that game.
He wasn't quiet no more. He was a team captain. There was a leader of the team that exemplified everything we wanted, a Texas Longhorn to be. So. Love you, salute to you, and it's well deserved, brother.
Yeah, I'll just throw it out there. I saw you in high school because I was doing high school games with Craig Way, and we were doing high school games here in the area. And I remember the first time I saw him, and I said, "Hey, dude, that dude, he's an NFL player." Yeah. I remember I literally told him, I was like, "That guy can play on. He can play on Sundays if everything goes right." Mm-hmm. everything.
Sure
You
enough.
proved me to be a smart guy. So I appreciate that.
You remember the first time you came in for lift?
I do. Well, we were by the dumbbells.
Tell everybody what happened.
I don't know if this is exactly what you remember, but I remember doing bicep curls next to Fozzy, though. Fozzy comes over there, he got his cut off. You know, Fozzy's swole. He's about 8 years in the program.
You say 80 or 8?
8 years in the program. So Foz rocked up. He come to me, he's looking at me. I try to have the same cutoff and all that, but it ain't fitting me the same. He's looking at me, he's like, why is this chest area so small on you? Like, that's the first thing you say. Why? How come you don't got no muscle up here? Like, and that goes back to Jay Hill's point of saying I came in looking like a hooper.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, man, I appreciate that, fellas. I'm humbled with this honor. I honestly didn't think this was possible for me. Just because you see so much greatness at Texas and just playing with you guys, like, we all could go at this table. Like, we all could go on the field. So just experiencing so much greatness within the program, to hear my name, and I got a little emotional, man. You can hear it in my voice now, but it's like, it's just it's a full circle moment, man. And I appreciate fellas like y'all for holding me down and keeping it real with me all the time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Proud of you, bro.
Well, we got week 1 coming up.
Yeah.
We'll be back after the game to talk about this. But another thing we never do is say, if you like what you hear and you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe what we're doing. I think that's the first time that's ever been said on here. It doesn't matter where it is, if it's YouTube or Spotify, whatever it is, wherever you get it. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all next week.
See y'all next week.